The world heaved a sigh of relief as a potential catastrophe was averted on Tuesday. America and Iran finally agreed on a 2-week conditional ceasefire, bringing a temporary end to 40 days of intense fighting. But the run-up to the ceasefire was marked by an escalation in fighting. Tuesday morning kicked off with ominous signs. At 8:06 a.m. precisely, Washington time, the entire world was taken aback. Leaving behind all pretense, Donald Trump made an open threat to erase Iran, a nation of 90 million people. Subsequently, Iran came under severe attack. The U.S. military carried out additional strikes on military targets on the Karg Island, fueling fear about escalation of this war. And the situation became so tense that the White House denied considering the use of nuclear weapons in this war. Meanwhile, in a clear message to Trump, hundreds of people gathered near bridges and power plants in Iran, answering the government's call to form human chains to protect the country's infrastructure. Then at 3:17 p.m. Washington time, a breakthrough seemed to be in the offing, with Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif urging Trump to extend his deadline by 2 weeks. Barely 90 minutes before the expiry of his deadline, Donald Trump made the big announcement, agreeing to suspend bombing of Iran for the next 2 weeks. However, this fragile ceasefire has left a lot of questions unanswered. To begin with, will Iran continue its stranglehold over the Strait of Hormuz? While Trump linked the ceasefire to a complete and immediate opening of the Hormuz, Tehran refused to give such a sweeping commitment. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi made it clear that safe passage through the strategic waterway will be possible only by coordinating with its armed forces and with due consideration of technical limitations. The country's Supreme National Security Council reportedly claimed that America had accepted its 10-point proposal, which includes a U.S. commitment to ensure that no further acts of aggression are carried out, continued Iranian control over the Strait of Hormuz, and acceptance of uranium enrichment. But Trump has refuted all of this. He also went one step further and said that America will work with Iran to remove enriched uranium, which was buried after last year's strikes. Tehran also claimed an agreement on the removal of primary as well as secondary sanctions and the termination of UN Security Council resolutions against Iran. Its other key demands included termination of all International Atomic Energy Agency Board of Governors resolutions against Iran and the payment of compensation for damages incurred during this particular war. America, though, has not publicly made any such commitments so far. Now, according to Iran, U.S. also agreed on a cessation of hostilities on all fronts, including Lebanon, and the withdrawal of its combat forces from West Asia. This hasn't materialized on the ground as well, with Israel emphasizing that Lebanon is not part of the ceasefire deal. Trump has told the public broadcasting service that ceasefire with Iran doesn't include Lebanon. On Wednesday this week, the IDF claimed to have targeted over 100 command centers and military infrastructure, allegedly linked with the Hezbollah. Now, with so many contradictions coming to the fore, it clearly remains to be seen whether US and Iran can actually eke out a mutually acceptable agreement anytime soon.